Thank you. I was saying that the president of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, is in Paris with his Minister of Finance and their team. There is a Paris Club summit. You know Paris Club is a group of nations that are lenders usually to poor countries. So they have 22 permanent member states. So they're having a summit at which Zambia was invited from those low income countries. And there was an announcement by Kristalina Georgieva, the IMF managing director. She announced that Zambia had clinched a deal for debt reschedule. She didn't give the details, but later we saw reports from Reuters quoting a member of the creditors committee stating that Zambia had clinched a deal, and the details remain scanty, but this is what we know, that the deal is about 6 billion, and that debt of 6 billion will be rescheduled for 20 years with a grace period of 3 years. When the IMF and Zambia clinched a similar deal in December 2021, I think, among the few that said there was no need for this celebration. They said, no, but you, the PF, were looking for this debt for the last 5 years. You are just jealous, you are just bitter, you lost power. I said, we want to acquire Shiva. There are so many tricks up their sleeves, so many tricks that they bring out of their pockets. It's not done, it's not done. Of course, all of you, especially those that follow me, know that I don't support the issue of the IMF. I think that we should concentrate on local resources and domestic revenue raising mechanisms. I don't believe that the IMF should be our first resort in the manner that President Hakainde Hichilema and his government proceeded. I believe they should be the last resort. As it was, when we signed that deal in 2021, the IMF said the deal is not done. They had released $188 million as a first tranche towards the $1.3 billion bailout. And conditions began to come up. Of course, there are conditions that we should restructure our economy, remove subsidies on fuel, on FISIP program, on electricity. There were other conditions that were given to us. They said it was a homegrown program, but you and I know that it wasn't a homegrown program at all. It's a fixed program from the IMF, and you have to work within the framework that they gave you. When we did that, remember, there were subsidies removed on fuel, there were subsidies removed on electricity. By now, electricity is quite expensive. They said, no, you have to reschedule your debt because you don't have enough resource envelope to pay your debt. We backtracked to 2020, November. The Minister of Finance at the time, Bwalyangan, following the G20 debt service suspension initiative that they had crafted, Zambia opted to apply for it, what you are calling the default. There are now over 38 countries on the so-called default. Because of the pandemic and the issues that were raised in the pandemic, Zambia applied that, we don't have enough money. Our economy has been affected adversely. We had posted a negative economic growth of 3.5% for the first time, I think, in the history of our country. I think in the last 30 years, we posted a negative economic growth of 3.5%. And Wadiangandu didn't want to use all our limited resources to pay our foreign debt while we're not paying our local debt and while social and economic services would suffer. So he applied for the G20 Debt Service Suspension Initiative, DSSI. We defaulted, as you call it, as people have to say it, but we are among the 8 countries that to date are not servicing our foreign debt. So the IMF said, no, you have to restructure your debt. And they pioneered something that the G20 proposed, a G20 debt treatment after this DSSI, the Debt Service Suspension Initiative. They said this is just for 1 year. But if you're going for 3 years without paying your debt, you have to apply under the G20 mechanism for debt treatment. So we're grouped together. First it was Chad, then Ethiopia. Then the three of us were grouped together because our lenders were almost identical. For Zambia and Ethiopia, it was mostly China which held for Zambia up to 1/3 of our debt. Then multilateral lenders and then private lenders. For Zambia, we even had Eurobond, a group of savers and pensioners who come together, hired a firm, I think BlackRock, to then lend that total of $3 billion to Zambia. This is where we were at. The IMF bailout was delayed. It's been delayed since December 2021 until Zambia restructured its debt. There were various issues that occurred. You remember that China has not participated in this framework, although it's a member of the G7 and G20, it didn't participate. So China was eventually brought on board, and besides, they were our single largest creditor. 1/3 of our debt belonged to China. Chinese banks, Exim Bank, Development Bank, and others. There was also a small amount which was a sovereign debt. So government began to pursue this with the creditors committee set up at the facilitation of the IMF and World Bank, where China and France represents the Paris Club of lenders, the 22 countries I told you about who are permanent members, and other private lenders. China, on the other hand, they held 1/3 of our debt. Hence, the various meetings. President Hakainde Hichilema, to his credit, he has been pushing very hard that these meetings take place and Zambia come to a resolution. There were announcements that were made that Zambia was seeking a debt cancellation of $8 billion out of $13.9 billion at the time. It has grown to something like $14.2 billion of interest. Zambia was also seeking the write-off because we have debt service that has accumulated up to $4 billion. That's why you hear that our foreign debt is $13.9 billion, is $14.2 billion, is $18 billion. It's as a result of that $4 billion that has risen, which we haven't been paying interest and accumulated interest in the last 3 years. So, but our principal debt is around $14.2 billion. We also have debt that publicly guaranteed debt that Zambia guaranteed. For example, to parastatals such as ZESCO, for the Kafue Gorge lower. And for government, this became central that we achieve the debt. I personally have been urging the president to go to China. Why? I said at bilateral level, you can have that debt cancelled. You can have that debt forgiven, not just debt rescheduled. So yesterday when I posted on my page, while everyone was celebrating, like they did in 2021, when everyone was celebrating the IMF bailout, I proposed caution. Similarly, here, I have proposed caution. I've said, we need to be slow to celebrate because nothing really has been done. This is a debt reschedule to 20 years. It's not a debt cancellation. Now, all stakeholders, all promoters of development in Africa, the church, and every well-meaning people have been calling for these debts to be fully cancelled, the debts to be fully forgiven, not debt reschedule. The debt must be cancelled. Because of our history, first of all, the so-called money, or it's not even money at all, looking at the exploitative nature of our relationship with the West or with the East. Secondly, it's a moral responsibility. Is that we keep on paying these debts so many times over that even the principal, in this case, for example, the principal will remain for 20 years, but will be servicing the interest for the next 20 years. So yes, you can celebrate, but there are issues there. This is not a debt cancellation. It's not a debt forgiveness. We were asking the president to go to China for that reason. China has capacity to cancel our debt. Eurobond, they are small savers, small pensioners. They will not cancel their debt. This is their livelihood. They can reschedule when you agree on a reschedule because they know they'll still be getting something every month. They can take what is called a haircut, where instead of what they lent you $3 billion plus interest over the last 10 years, maybe it could come to $5-6 billion. They can say, okay, give us just a principal amount, maybe add another $1 billion. That's a haircut. So what was achieved in Paris, what has been announced, why we are trending across the globe, is that debt restructure. For me, it means little. There's more work to be done. We need to, especially for debt that can be forgiven, that can be cancelled. So a lot of people kept on saying, but Mwamba, government, you're there, why don't you address how you borrowed? Well, for me, I can show you you have no load shedding because government borrowed $3 billion and put it in the power sector. Government borrowed. You saw the generation capacity increased from 1,600 to 3,500. You see where the money went. Government borrowed for the international airport. You can see the international airport in Ndola and in Lusaka. You can see Momboshi Dam. You can see the entire road sector in Lusaka and the flyover bridges. You can see the hospitals. We have 99 district hospitals that were being built. We have many referral hospitals that were being built. You can see where the money went. It's not money that was borrowed and can be seen. You can pin every debt to every project. They say they were overpriced. They say no, the PF was getting Guagu well. Guys, let someone do an audit. Let an audit demonstrate that that money was abused. But for us, you can see every single dollar you can peg it to a loan. You have no load shedding. You have power sector that has been increased to 3,500. Another one was saying, I saw comments from our colleagues from the UPNB who are saying, so did you borrow to seek forgiveness? Not at all. First, this debt service initiative and debt treatment started in 2018. You remember that Zambia did a consolidated program with the IMF to disclose all our debt, whether it was Chinese, whether it was European, whether it was American. So that was an initiative done by the IMF, and there was full disclosure. You saw our debt after that exercise rise from $5 billion, it came to $9 billion because there was a full assessment, full audit of every loan we owed and we got. That program was then going, that's why Lazard came on board, then to try to renegotiate the debt. With China, we started at bilateral level, and I have, in fact, posted on my page comments and stories from 2019 that show that China was willing to cancel our debt and was also willing to reschedule our debt from 2019 when President Edgar Lungu visited China. So what do we have as I begin to conclude? It's very simple. There's good news, which people are celebrating, that we have $6 billion that will be rescheduled. We might have what we call headroom for us then to embark on development. But what I can tell you is this is a little drop in the ocean. Zambian government itself was looking for a debt cancellation, debt forgiveness of $8 billion. What they've gotten is a reschedule. You might celebrate the reschedule that is a beginning to a longer walk to debt cancellation and resolving our debt. Another issue that will arise out of this is that at its next sitting, the IMF, I think it's due in August, will then approve the tranche of the $188 million that was approved in December after the staff level agreement review was done. So it will now, that $188 million will be given back to, will be given to Zambia towards the $1.3 billion bailout. At every stage, government has to meet the conditions that they are in. They have to see that your economic program is on track, that you are attending to the issues, that there's no wasteful expenditure, there's no corruption. They have to look at all that parameters, including sometimes even human rights issues, but usually it's a state of the economy. So yes, as you celebrate this bailout, as we celebrate this debt restructure, like I did in 2021, when everyone was celebrating and they plugged their ears, they couldn't hear my warning that the $1.3 billion was not coming in January. Our colleagues at Ministry of Finance were so naive that they even planned it in the 2022 budget, thinking that the $1.3 billion would come. It has landed us in problem. Government has been running on huge debt. They're running on bonds and treasury bills from Bank of Zambia. They've also running one of our biggest deficits, budget deficits. They've been borrowing. Like last year, they got $750 million from World Bank, $750 million in 2022 alone. So there have been issues. So they'll get a breather, but it's not a breather that you and I should expect. If there was a debt cancellation, I would have joined you in the celebration. But this is a mere debt reschedule. The debt will be paid by you and me or our children in the next 20 years. So with these few remarks, I have been away because of most personal issues. You know that the police brutalized me, picked me up, brutalized me, and they placed on me very false charges. But these are things we are going to fight. The Lord is going to be with us. They will not scandalize our name. This is a name we've built over the last 25 years. My name didn't come. It's the biggest commodity I have. So I'm not surprised when they attack my name, try to give me labels and names. I have built my name over many, many, many years. And my name will not be taken away by people with evil plans to destroy me and to help destroy the country. Our Lord will keep us. We have been at this for a long time. I love the new name they're giving me, that I'm a propagandist. Let me tell you what I have done in communications and why I'm a communications expert. I'm a journalist by profession. I'm a writer by profession. I've since added various degrees. I'm a policy, peace and security expert too. But one of the forte I've had over the years is that I'm a social media expert too. So, when I was working for Dr. Chiluba, President Mwanawasa was fighting him. President Mwanawasa, Levi Mwanawasa, wanted the corruption to stick on Chiluba. And Chiluba had no one to speak for him until he made me his spokesperson. I was a young man. And all his opportunities were closed out. The public media couldn't cover him. The private media, led by the post, were prosecuting him. I found space in that small window to communicate the case of Dr. Chiluba. Similarly, you remember in 2015 that there was Guy Scott on one hand who didn't want Edgar Lungu and was acting president. So the media shut us out. And then you had on the other the private media that wanted President Hakainde Hichilema to win election. Again, I'm one of those people that pioneered the 2015 elections, reporting on social media to reach the audience, because many people don't understand that social media has a far reach than even ordinary newspapers. Newspapers will print 2,000-3,000 copies, 4,000 copies. Radio and TV, I think they've some of the largest audience, but social media has the biggest audience. So in 2015, I pioneered that and ensured that Edgar Lungu was elected on the strength of what we're doing on social media, because we're closed out from mainstream media. There were a lot of radio and TV stations that also, especially private, that would open a window, but essentially. So in this environment where they want us to shut up, in this environment where they don't want Emmanuel Mwamba to speak, where they want to demonize you, it will not work. This is God's work. We have a duty to speak for you, to speak for our people. And for our people are suffering. They are facing the highest cost of living. There's huge acts of corruption. Now, abuse of human rights as demonstrated by the U.S. report on human rights published by, by the U.S. government for 2022, with clear examples of the arbitrary killings, arbitrary arrests, detentions, and other abuse of human rights. We have a duty to speak. We should not be silent. So with those few things, we will reorganize the brief. It will come in the format that you know it. It might have some new things, but we have to communicate and speak to you. So God bless you. Thank you for listening, and we'll speak to you later.